Services said that they had 315 people were in those shelters last night.
Right, and they did mention the water overtopping a back levee down in Plaquemines Parish. That officials anticipated that particular levee overtopping. Of course, they are concerned with livestock and residents in that area down in Plaquemines Parish near Highway 23, which they do anticipate with additional rainfall from Hurricane, now Tropical Storm Barry, that they will have to close off that highway for the next few days. But National Guardsmen have been deployed, as well as many pumps throughout the southern portion of the state. They are also now turning their attention to central and northern Louisiana as Tropical Storm Barry continues to slowly make its way up north through the rest of Louisiana. But let's now check in with our chief meteorologist, Jesse Gunkel, for the latest on this recently downgraded tropical system.
Well, yeah, obviously, Chad, we got some new information with the latest advisory at 1 o'clock. We are now looking at Tropical Storm Barry. That's the first one. So it had a very short shelf life as a Category 1 storm. We had a couple wind gusts over 75 miles per hour. That kind of put it in that category. Obviously, it also has made landfall, and the landfall just around Intracoastal City, and obviously that is on the northern side of Vermilion Bay. Obviously, it went through Marsh Island a little bit earlier, then it crossed the open waters, but now sliding inland, downgrading to a tropical depression, but the winds are still rather strong out there. We've got winds kind of in a very small area around the center of the storm. Wind gusts are up to 70 miles or just a little bit above 70 miles per hour. Winds sustained are at 70. It's heading northwest now at 6 miles per hour. And right now you can see here, it's not too far, 5 miles northeast of Intracoastal City. So it went through the city and now it's sliding off towards the northwest at this point. Now, big picture out here, you see that we still got those heavy rain bands out there. Still looking for a bunch more rainfall on the way. We haven't really seen much quite yet here, but it's coming. As you see, as the system starts to drive closer, the rain is starting to really pick up for some of those coastal parishes, and we've got a lot of heavier bands out there a little bit further towards the south, and obviously extending down into the Gulf of Mexico. Once again, this is a very lopsided system with all the thunderstorm activity. All really that plume of moisture sitting on the south side of the storm, because all week long it's been dealing with wind shear. It's been dealing, this system has been fighting against dry air, kind of in the mix, kind of in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. Well, that's slowly starting to move on, and we are going to get into this side of the storm. So everything that's been brewing below this storm is eventually going to start to slide into southeastern Louisiana. So now we're going to start to see the rain start to add up slowly, and at times maybe even quickly, as we make our way into the evening hours at this point. So here is that latest track, and you see here wind sustained at 70, a couple gusts up to 90 miles per hour. And that's mainly on the eastern side of the system. Winds heading northwest now at about 6 miles per hour. And the current pressure now sits at 996. So you can see that's actually rising just a little bit too at this point. So again, we're making our way inland, driving through, most likely right through the middle of just a little bit to the west of Lafayette Parish, but then driving northward up through St. Landry and then up through the central part of the state, probably just around Alexandria. You can see where it kind of cuts across here. This is I-49 right here, and then driving up possibly just before it gets into or steps into Arkansas. It downgrades finally to a tropical depression with those winds at about 35 miles per hour. But I want to show you the process, the step here, because 65 miles per hour still at 7 o'clock this evening. Notice where it currently sits. Here's West Baton Rouge Parish. Here's it, excuse me, sorry, a little bit further north. Again, here's West Baton Rouge Parish, here's East Baton Rouge, but it does clip a lot of areas. And you got to remember those tropical storm force winds do extend still about 150 miles from the center as it drives through. But a lot of that rainfall is all sitting in this general region. And as the system starts to drive through, notice even by early Sunday, it's still only about halfway through the state, and then it finally picks up a little bit of forward speed, but it takes a while to get out of the state. And yes, we could still be dealing with some of those feeder bands until early on Monday at this point. So we got tropical storm warnings for a lot of areas, have been pushed a little bit further north. You can see all the way through Alexandria, still that hurricane warning in place. Most likely that will get adjusted now since it has made landfall. But I want to point out some of these wind gusts out there, and you can see the stronger winds around New Roads coming in at about 40, 43 down in Houma, 40 now in New Orleans. Notice the center of that storm is sitting right about here. You would think the stronger winds would be there, but they are kind of displaced a little bit further east at this point. We even had some wind gusts at Tiger Stadium at 50 miles per hour. So we've had that. The rain is starting to come down, and yeah, storms are currently making their way through the region at this point. You see, again, we've got those strong wind gusts up to about 32 in Slidell. The latest gust was 40 in New Orleans, and even 30 down in Belle Chase. Watching the water vapor, still all that dry air, nice little pocket north of the system, but it's not doing much to keep that thunderstorm activity from collapsing on the south side. You can start to see it even regenerate a little bit. However, as you notice, we had a lot here and it's kind of tapering off. I do want to show you some of the estimates of what could possibly happen as the system starts to make its way inland. Tracks, again, really not a big factor at this point. We just kind of following really up I-49 until you get to about Alexandria, and then it starts to break off a little bit. Still for us, again, it's going to be those winds, then it's going to be that rainfall, and then we have to worry about that potential flooding out there. So here is the latest European model, and as you notice, still keeping a lot of those thunderstorms. And as you notice, it's showing you the center sitting over here. That has walked a little bit further towards the west. So that means, again, a lot of that rainfall could slide also in that westerly direction. Also, I also want to point that a lot of those rain bands do extend well into the Gulf of Mexico, and that's through very late on Sunday. Showing you the GFS, obviously falling a little bit closer to that track, the National Hurricane Path, and the current path of what's going on with Barry at this point. You see a lot of that heavy rainfall even through Sunday morning. Notice Sunday morning around 4 a.m. we're still dealing with a nice pocket of moisture across us where the rainfall rates could be very intense. Sunday evening, notice it has not changed. You start to get some of those banding features. Currently what they're dealing with in Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, well, those bands will set up and they won't budge for quite a few hours, and that is definitely one of the concerns. You can see how our in-house model kind of picks that up a little bit. You start to see those bands drive through the area. Even by Monday morning, still dealing with some potential heavy rainfall out there, mainly in some pockets. And again, that still extends into the Gulf of Mexico. And notice where the center of the storm is. Now just starting to make its way outside of the state. So it's going to eventually drift off towards the northeast into the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys. But yes, residual rain still an issue. That's why when they're issuing these forecasts for our local rivers and streams, they're not just doing it for the next day or two. They're doing it long range over the next 7 to 10 days just because of that potential threat, not only here, but what's happening above us, because again, we are going to have to worry about the flood concern well upstream at this point. So there still is a flash flood watch through Sunday for the entire viewing area. Obviously, this needs to be updated a little bit. I haven't got to that quite yet. We did have some internet issues here. Obviously, we're dealing with the same type of conditions that you guys are probably dealing with at home, power outages and whatnot. So again, we were on the backup generator for a little bit. So again, some of the stuff does need to be updated. So I just want you to watch it very close. But notice it's showing you one model. A lot of that rain a little bit further west now, causing big-time concerns for the Atchafalaya. However, the latest GFS here, you see here, keeping a lot of that heavy rainfall still across Baton Rouge, through Ascension Parish, all the way down to Terrebonne Parish and Lafourche Parish, and then over towards St. Mary at this point. So totals could range anywhere from 10 to 10 plus in a lot of areas. So we may not be up to that 20 category, but still 10 inches to 15 inches of rainfall is a lot for our area. We all know what happens. We've already seen the rains kind of come down a little bit at this point. Ground's still kind of somewhat saturated from the last couple of weeks, and yeah, you get a little bit of, well, all this top of our water on top of it, well, then that will be a continued concern. So we also are sitting under a slight risk for severe weather. I do want to point that out. We do have the potential for isolated tornadoes. Again, some of these can kind of spawn on some of those feeder bands out there. So pay close attention. They may not be the strongest of tornadoes, but they could still do some damage. You could also see flying debris with some of these isolated tornadoes. So just be well aware of that as we kind of dive into some of these storms. So kind of looking at other impacts, and I do want to point forward. Again, things do look a little bit better by the time we get into Sunday at this point. Maybe not so much a severe weather threat, but still a rain threat moving forward. And I do want to point out storm surge watch and warnings across the area, and that really goes all the way around the lakes at this point, except for Livingston Parish at this point underneath that storm surge warning. A lot of areas from Intracoastal all the way basically around the mouth of the Mississippi River all the way back up to about the Pearl River are seeing storm surge totals in the 3 to 6 inch range, a little bit lower, a little bit west of Intracoastal City, and then obviously further inland we're starting to see some of that water push into the Mandeville and Covington areas, so mainly on that north shore. Also kind of keeping a very close eye on the south side of Lake Pontchartrain. Not so much a concern for storm surge, but there still are those winds, and again, if the winds start to taper off a little bit, I do believe as that system drives, you got to think about it, driving northward, those winds will start to wrap around. So it's still going to continue to be an ongoing concern for much of the North Shore as we continue to move forward. Again, we're going to probably get more and more reports of even power outages with those wind gusts starting to really kind of pick up across the area. Again, it's still sitting along the coast, Barry. Again, it's maybe a tropical depression now, but the winds are finally going to start to inch their way a little bit closer to us over the next few hours. So as we head into the afternoon at this point, kind of walking into the early evening hours. So wind gusts, just try to avoid being outside as much as possible and avoid being on those roadways. We've also had reports of some power poles down, some signal lights out at this point, and you never want to run into that. Again, if you do run into a four-way stop, well, just treat it as a four-way stop if those traffic lights are out at this point. So we've got a lot to talk about, obviously. We're going to look at river stages coming up in a little bit because I think that is going to be the big concern. Where does all that heavy rainfall come from? Main thing with all of that is it's got to go into whatever this intense rainfall is, and where is it going over the next couple days. That is going to continue to be one of those bigger issues because we are going to start to see it eventually filter into the Comey, the Amite, and right now we're still looking at the possibility of record stages across much of the region. That's where those totals could really begin to start obviously adding up, because you got to think about it. Once that rain kind of filters in north of I-12, it filters into the Comey, then it filters into the Amite, and they all meet up at Denham Springs at this point. That's where the river levels and the water starts to swell at this point, and then it all pushes downstream to Bayou Manchac. We get a lot of that heavy rainfall over here. Anything on the eastern side right now of the Mississippi River is going to filter into the Amite before it goes back out into the lakes. Everything on the other side filters into the Atchafalaya Basin, so on the west side of the Mississippi River, but that all has to go down into Morgan City, so you got to be well aware of that. Here, parts kind of in the mix of all that. But there is at least a little bit more room to grow in the Atchafalaya Basin versus what we got going on. We got a lot of properties along the Amite River and obviously around some of those canals a little bit further south. Also on the North Shore, potential for a lot of heavy rainfall, and if you got some property or a camp out there, you could be dealing with some issues along the Tickfaw. A lot of elevated places out there, so they're already heeding that warning, but still, waters will begin to rise for a lot of those areas. So the Tickfaw, the Tchefuncte rivers, the Bogue Chitto, all of that is going to start to rise and swell most likely in the coming hours. Also coming days, in fact. I think when you're looking at a lot of these water levels, you're not just looking at now, you're not looking at tomorrow, you're looking at actually when they're going to crest, because it is going to take a while. You got to think about it. A lot of these areas have really built up over the last couple years. Even since we've had Katrina and since we've had Gustav, we've got a lot more property out there. You got to remember that a lot of these places down by Spanish Lake, a lot of those areas at one time were bayou. They were swamp. Now they're subdivisions. So the land has been filled in, so that water's still got to go somewhere, and we all know where it goes into. A lot of these little tributaries, Bayou Ward, Bayou Paul, and then it filters back into Bayou Manchac and then goes in. So again, there are a lot of tributaries. We know that there's, again, a couple of little canals in the downtown area if the rain really starts to add up. And if you saw just 5 weeks ago, just what a little bit of rain does, and that we only had 8 to 9 inches of rain there. If we potentially get up to about 12 to 15 inches of rainfall, well, again, you can see the concern for a lot of folks in the downtown area, around Government, around Spanish Town, again, near the levee at this point. Again, I also want to point out, too, a lot of people are concerned with the Mississippi River at this point. That should not be a concern. The governor mentioned that also. Actually, we have a levee system out there, and that should hold. However, I think the concern would be maybe way down the road. It just really depends on how much moisture goes northward into the Tennessee, the Arkansas, all these other rivers that are sitting in the central and northern half of the nation, because all that water has to eventually filter down the Mississippi before it gets to Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and then actually pumps out just past Boothville. So, yeah, we got a lot to kind of keep an eye on. Obviously, the big concern out there now is the rainfall. You guys got some new information on the desk?
We do, Jesse. We do have some breaking news from our partners in Livingston Parish with the Livingston Parish